As a young man, I'd always wanted to be independent, not to be an employee. That is some dream I've always had of my life. I studied dentistry. When I finished, I started internship. During my internship, I used to visit some dental clinic and see how things operate, which motivated me that I could veer off in dentistry and go practice by myself. So during my internship, I saved up and took some loan and started the clinic. At that time, I was partly working elsewhere and partly running the clinic. At that time, I was still a bit confused whether I wanted to really take dentistry as the core business that I wanted in life. Having been a dental clinic that was just starting out as a young man in Kisumu, we kept having the demand growing on us. And at that point, we needed a facility, a loan to be able to help us expand and absorb the increased capacity. So that time is when I approached ABSA to be able to help us elevate and expand our capacity to serve the numbers that were growing. Thereafter, we started seeing the need of opening the branches, where again, I went to ABSA and they gave us the loan to be able to, we refinanced actually, to be able to open a branch and keep elevating our clinic. ABSA has been one of the best in terms of relationship for the business aspect of it. The turnaround time of response from the banking staff whenever we need any support on our business has been really commendable. And irrespective of which part of the country we've gone to, whether we're in Homa Bay, whether we're in Migori, the willingness of the staff to respond to us is very good. I look back and I'm happy with my partnership with ABSA. It's been a worthy journey.
My name is Josephine Gitan. I'm a businesswoman. Nafanya business yangu Kisii. Duka yangu inaitwa Jacho Farm Machinery. Hii duka nilianza kitambo tukiwa na mzee wangu. Kafanya vizuri, kaendelea vizuri, lakini wakati mzee akafika akawa mgonjwa for the whole year. Sasa ikawa business imerudi chini kabisa. Sasa from there kapatana na watu wa bank from ABSA Bank, wakakuja wakanichukua, wakanipatia loan unsecured 500,000. Na hiyo loan imenisaidia sana kwa marafiki zangu, majirani na wale ambao wachajiunga na ABSA Bank, na waomba mjiunge na ABSA Bank kwa sababu sahizi naona nimeendelea. ABSA Bank ninawashukuru sana, mlinisaidia na muendelee kufanya hivyo hivyo kwa wengine.
Good morning, and thank you for finding time to join us this morning. I hope you are all doing fine. Let us know how you are doing this early morning. Where are you logging us from? And how are you feeling today? We are really happy to have you in this webinar. This is a time to call your partner, your friend, your business colleague who had registered to just log in also to hear from our speaker. We have a very interesting topic today with an experienced expert in the industry, ready to give you insights on how you can leverage strategy in times of economic turmoil and hardship, especially what we are currently experiencing in our country. So please, I see we are quite a quorum, but I would urge you to call that one person who you think this topic would be very critical to their business. Yeah, we are our brother's keepers. So this is a time, call them before we start the main thing. Yeah, in just a few. So with me today, we are hosting the webinar with Wild International, our partners who we've been working with for quite some years in empowering SMEs with capacity building and skills. And this is one of the things that at ABSA Bank we do under the Business Club to support our customers non-financially, because we know as much as our stronghold is the financial, in terms of financial support, we realize that businesses need also skills and capacity building to the owners or the founders to run their businesses efficiently. So that is the work that we do under the ABSA Business Club. And if you are not yet a member of the ABSA Business Club, please look for your relationship manager or walk in to any of our branches, and we'll be able to sign you up as a member, and you'll able to get some of these benefits that our members get under the business club. So without much further ado, as I've mentioned, I will welcome our Wild partner, Wild International, and Monica Kashusha, who is the project manager, will introduce the speaker for us as we go ahead. But before even we do that, on chats are open. My technical team here tells me the chats are open. So tell us, how are you today? How are you feeling? Where are you logging from? Also, this is a place that you connect as business people. Tell us what you do, because from here you can get someone who needs your services. So please chat. Let's keep the chat vibrant, because this is intended to be a very interactive session. So feel free, engage us. We are ready for you. Welcome, Monica, and take it away. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Helen, for this opportunity. It's indeed a great honor to be here today. So my name is Monica Gashusha, Project Manager at Wild International. And allow me to just say a few words about Wild International and myself. So I am a project manager at Wild International. So what do we do at Wild International? We are a strategy and entrepreneurship firm, and our day-to-day business is to support entrepreneurs. And we are very happy and honored to be here today to be speaking to the business owners, because our everyday job is to ensure that our business owners are able to thrive, to grow their revenues, to create wealth through the strategies that they input in their business. And we support entrepreneurs from different levels, from startups, those who are growing, those who are expanding. And like Helena said, we're in a very unpredictable environment. And sometimes we are trying to navigate different turbulence. We don't know what to do. And I think today's session is going to be very insightful, just to help us understand how else can we navigate some of these, turbulence that we encounter when we're running our businesses. So at Wild International, we have our flagship program. We call it Skillerizer, that support people who are just starting up their business, supporting them clarify their business model, what do they want to do, understand their journey. We also do strategy development, execution. We support end-to-end. We help you develop your strategy to execute, and we also work very closely with Sandbox. We call it the Village Expert, whereby we have experts who support businesses in different functions, from HR, if you want a HR person, if you want a legal person, if you want somebody to help you just create your brand, if you want somebody to help you with the governance issues, we work very closely with the Sandbox. We also do a lot of business coaching and mentorship. We understand that businesses, entrepreneurs, business owners, founders, they need somebody to just sit and listen to them. What are you going through? What are your struggles? How can you be able to venture in new spaces? So we do a lot of one-on-one coaching, we do group coaching, we mentor people, and that's wholesomely. We help you grow your revenue and also grow your wealth. So today we are going to have a very exciting journey just to discuss some of the strategies that you're going to use to be able to navigate some of these spaces. And just to talk about again Wild, we are based here in Nairobi, but we have footprint in different counties. We have our associates, about 30 of them within the country, just to support us, to be able to support our work, what we do within the counties. We work very closely with the counties under the supporting youth and women entrepreneurs. And I know that a lot of us would also want to do businesses with other counties. So how can we then go to those counties? We are here to support you in your journey for growth, expansion, and even internationally. And thanks to Barclays for opening doors for us, because even as we do all this work, goal is access to finance. You're looking for money to grow your business. You're looking for money to expand your business. So how do you go about it? Once we help you clarify your business model, once we help you seal all the loopholes that can make you lose your revenue, then you're ready to scale, and you're looking for money to scale. So where do you go? We have our very able ABSA is going to help you in that finance. So we are an enabler to helping you access finance, refining your business model, just helping you package your business. We get entrepreneurs and they tell us, I'm not able to get funding. It is how you have packaged your business. So come to us, we will help you package your business, and we will get a funder for you like Barclays. So today we have a great speaker, and just allow me to read through his bio. He's going to be, it's going to be very insightful to just hear what he has for us today. A man of wisdom, and just allow me to read word by word, because this is an exciting speaker. So our speaker today is Kirinya Kithinji. He's a consulting director at Wild International, and he is a strategy and finance expert, and he serves at Wild, the Wild International, and he serves as a managing director. So he embarked his career in financial sector at Barclays Bank of Kenya, and now the ABSA. It's always good to go back and, serve again where you did. Gaining hands-on experience in various roles and departments for 14 years. Transitioning to private equity, Kirinya thrived as a credit manager at Visions Capital. Here he showcased his prowess in deal sourcing, appraisal, structuring, relationship management, risk assessment, product development, solidifying his skills in investment optimization. Kirinya expertise has resonated with prominent clients, including Committee Linking Entrepreneurship and Agricultural Development, that is called it in Africa, Agribusiness Academy, International Trade Center, GIZ, International Integration Consulting Group, and more. Kirinya's comprehensive impact has extended to various fronts. His collaboration with Africa Agribusiness Academy has led to business modeling and training for Agricultural Commodities Association in Nigeria, Tanzania, and Ethiopia, furthering the agribusiness sector. Engagement with integration consulting included training sessions for branch loan managers, loan officers, head office staff on business model appraisal, credit risk management, categorizing business product alignment for the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, and a whole portfolio for SME products. Kirinya is involvement in the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, Journey Fresh Limited, Integration Consulting, Afroscope, Emerging Leadership Foundation, and Trade Fair Enterprises showcased his commitment to strategy development, financial management, training, leadership development, and sustainable business practices. Kirinya's journey is embarked by academic excellence, diverse professional role, and unwavering dedication to SME development. His holistic approach, spanning training, coaching, access to finance, strategic guidance, continues to drive positive change on local and global scales, leaving an indebted impact on business and organization and economies. And the list can go on and on. We have an incredible speaker today. Please sit down, relax, listen, take notes, put your questions. We'll be happy to answer. So welcome, Kirinya, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Monica, and thank you very much for the ABSA team for this collaboration, and a very warm welcome to all the entrepreneurs who are joining us today, or the business owners who are joining us today. Allow me to project, and that's what we are talking about today. It's leveraging on strategy to navigate economic uncertainty. So we hope you find this session useful, and that you pick up a few insights that you can apply for your business. We are going to keep it a little interactive so that we don't have too much, I don't end up talking all the time. I'll be engaging you for sure to ask a few questions. For instance, you have a poll or two, I would encourage you to respond to the poll. So leveraging on strategy to navigate economic uncertainty. That's what we're talking about this morning. And now, just my opening statement is, when it comes to managing uncertainty, it means it's just being adaptable and prepared for various scenarios. And the idea is to minimize potential negative impacts on your business. So that's what it means, managing economic uncertainty. It's being adaptable, being prepared for various scenarios and negative impacts rather that can affect your business. Now, what are the triggers? I'm going to run them through a couple of them. Some of them we're very familiar with, others we don't, maybe have not experienced yet. So what are the triggers for economic uncertainty? I have about 7 of them. The first one is political instability, or maybe conflicts between countries. You know what's happening in Ukraine, in Russia. It is so far off, thousands and thousands of kilometers away, but it affects us. Why? For instance, because we import a lot of wheat from both Russia and Ukraine. They are major suppliers of wheat in the country. So now that they're fighting, it's affecting us. So even the business of baking bread or cakes, for instance, so the 1 kg of flour moves from maybe 10 shillings to 20 shillings just because of political instability. Not exactly within your country, but far away. That's the first trigger for economic uncertainty. The second trigger is alterations in government policies, regulations or fiscal measures. Fiscal measures are tax measures. Now, Kenyans are very familiar with that. That does definitely not require any explanation. That one we know. The other trigger is variability. What are credit markets? A credit market is a place where you access loans for your business. Yeah, so variability in terms of interest, in terms of availability of credit, those are some of the triggers of economic uncertainty. That's number 3. So number 4, it's rapid changes in technology. What was valid yesterday becomes obsolete today, can create uncertainty about future economic conditions. So even in a space where there's a lot of change in technology that is highly vulnerable to changes in technology, that can create uncertainty. So that's number 4. Number 5, it's environmental conditions. We've gone through, in our country, of course, locust invasion, floods just not too long ago, El Nino, and other natural disasters happening within the country. So that's events. That's the other trigger. And then finally, there's changes in political leadership of government. Yeah, that can influence the economy, economic policies, and stability. Again, no need to give explanations for that in our beloved country called Kenya. All right, I think it's time to do a poll now. And I'd like to see those of us who are present today, which of these triggers has affected your business in the recent past? So let's run that poll on the screen. Which of the above triggers, the ones that I've discussed, have affected your business in the recent past? So please go ahead and poll. Let us see what you have to say about that. Is it political instability? You can choose all of them. You can choose some of them. Well, great. Keep polling, and then we'll share the results in a short while. All right. Okay. Political instability. All right. Keep polling. Okay. Outbreaks. I can see political instability is a big one. Alterations in government policies, tax laws and things like that is a big one. Variability in credit markets affecting quite a number of us. So keep polling. All right. So how does it look like here? We have, people are still doing their responses. We have 59 out of about 60 people have polled, 61. And I can see most of the people are saying it's political instability or conflicts between nations at 51% of the people who have polled. That's about 61 out of 80 have given their responses so far. Alteration in government policies and regulations. All right, 59% have been affected by that. Variability in credit markets is the third most polled reason at 37%. So the big issues are political instability. Actually, it's about alterations in government policies and regulations. That's the one I can see on my screen. The second one, that's at 61% of the people. The next one is political instability. That's at 50%. And then lastly, and maybe this is relevant for ABSA right here, variability in credit markets, scoring at 36%. So allow me to end the poll right there. And then I can ask, the next question. And this is about sharing experiences, really. In what ways did these triggers actually affect your business? Some of us have spoken about, maybe you said it was tax changes in alteration in government policies, variability in credit markets. I'm going to open the floor to one or two people to share. In what ways did these triggers affect your business? You can post on the chat, but if you really want to speak, I'll be happy to give you an opportunity or two. So anyone who wants to go, Helen, please, whether there's a raised hand somewhere, someone who wants to share how these triggers affected their business that we've discussed. You can also
raise your hand, or you can do, you can chat. You can just write it on our chat.
Then we can debrief. Do you have any responses? Is there anyone who wants to share the experience? There's their unique experience. You can tell us what the trigger was and how it affected your business. Anyone? Helen, anything on the chat?
Nothing yet. I'm looking on the charts.
Then no one wants to share the experience. All right, Catherine Kimaru has raised her hand. Thank you very much, Catherine. Helen, please unmute Catherine so that she can share experience. Catherine, tell us what you do, where you're based, what trigger you're speaking about, and how did it affect your business? Over to you, Catherine. Let's see what we can learn from one another.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Catherine, and welcome on.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm Catherine from the founder Nature's Health Limited.
Yes.
I deal with the natural organic healthy foods, and I've done it for quite a number of years, close to 20 years. Now, about the triggers, how they have affected my business. In my case, all the triggers have applied. And they have really affected my business negatively. First, we are all not new on what happened to Ukraine and Russia. I do milling, so I was not able to get things like sufficient maize. And that effect went down even to small traders like myself or small manufacturers like myself.
Yes.
The point number two, the second effect is alteration on economic policy. You see, with the current regime, what has happened, a lot of things have changed. A lot of taxes that have been imposed have heavily affected how we buy the raw materials, because there are taxes that are put on the raw materials. Once you do the finished good, there are other additional tax. For example, there are taxes we pay when you're buying the normal VAT that we are used to paying when you buy the bottles. Then there is another duty that came that was imposed. There are a number of hidden small taxes that they only experienced by the people who are in that side. The other thing is variability of the credit market. You know very well in the recent time, I have, for example, I have my a loan with ABSA. You know, there's a communication that was done a few months ago that the interest rates changed. I'm sure you are witness of that and you understand.
Yes.
Then there is a rapid change in the technology. You see, I've told you I started my business. I've not been able to catch most tech survey channels of communication. Channels where the platform will reach my people despite the support I've gotten, but we are slowly adapting to that. In fact, I've been forced to be where I am now because of the circumstances. If you are going to be left behind technology-wise, otherwise you'll be phased out of even of your business because you'll not be able to reach even the market well. Then the other point that also has affected, I said environmental condition. When there is drought, like the last year, but when there was severe drought, the effect of that year came to last year when we lacked a staple food, special commodity, maize. When there is no maize, we do not have ugari. So we could not mill, we could not provide. And that is just an example because maize is staple. Look at the vegetable, look at the millet, the sorghum, the honey that comes from the bee. So that really affected. We do not get the sufficient raw materials. And of course, change in political leadership, we all witness what have happened.
Very well. Thank you very much, Catherine, for sharing your experience.
Yes.
But I am glad that you have lived to tell the story. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Annette Kimitei, just one more person so that we can move on because of time. Annette, your hand is raised. Would you like to share your experiences? How did these triggers affect your business?
Thank you very much for these sessions. I really normally enjoy them. And my name is Annette Kimitei. I run a private security company and called Senaka East Africa. And of course, we've been affected by the recent political instability in the country as a result of maandamano. It has really escalated our costs of doing business because we really had to invest in a lot of client information, risk assessments to prepare them for some of the effects. And if you recall, there was some looting that happened, really didn't affect many of our clients, but really was an unstable period for us. And of course, clients really had to increase a lot of their costs to be able to catch up with that. Of course, terrorism is always a threat in this country as a result of political or rather conflicts between nations. And though we've not been affected directly by a terror incident, you realize that many of our clients have had to increase, whether it's the CCTV, the electric fences, the bollards, and all these costs, of course, also result in us increasing the costs to them. And there are businesses that are not able to keep up. There are businesses that are not able to implement some of these measures. And we've sadly had to let go of some because they are quite high risk. I'd go on, but just because of time, those two.
Thank you very much, Annette, and congratulations that you're still standing. So allow me to move along. And maybe you can read one item on the chat, Helen, as we move along. One or two items, Helen. Has anyone posted anything on the chat?
Yes, we have Esther who is saying viability in credit markets. In my case, when a lot of market, when you you do a lot of marketing and you get an LPO to do the work, and lucky enough cash to handle the work, you rush to the bank, to the back to try and get some additional cash, and the bank cannot undertake your LPO to assist you because you don't have money in your account. There is also so that's the feedback in terms
Yeah.
of the experiences from Esther. She
Very
has
well.
been affected by viability in credit markets.
Thank you very much. So allow us to move on again because of time. So what we're saying is these things happen to the best of us, and all of us, these triggers happen to the best of us, and all of us have certain experiences that we go through as we are exposed to these triggers of economic uncertainty. So allow me to move on. What are the consequences? What happens when economic uncertainties happen? So now, when we talk about the economic uncertainties, we have three things really to think about. The uncertainty itself, or the trigger, more specifically, it's the trigger itself. Then number two, how vulnerable you are to that trigger. And then number three, how exposed you are to that trigger. So now that intersection is what creates risk in your business. So the uncertainty is the trigger or the hazard happening in your, how the hazard affects you, how the trigger that we've mentioned affects you depends on whether you're vulnerable and whether you're exposed. So now we have that intersection. There's a hazard, there's a vulnerability, and there's exposure. That creates now the risk, maybe even of loss. Now, what I want to say, what's the difference between exposure and vulnerability? Right? For instance, right now where you're seated in your office or in the comfort of your home, you are not exposed to shark attacks. Okay, you're not exposed to shark attacks. So there's no problem right there. You're probably not exposed to maybe rainfall because you're probably seated in an office somewhere, but you could be vulnerable. So what's the difference between exposure and vulnerability? Present when the trigger happens, yeah, when the triggers that we're talking about happen. That is a question that we need to ask ourselves. But now vulnerability, the best example I can give is that during COVID, most of us were exposed to COVID, but some people are more vulnerable to COVID than others. And that's probably because of pre-existing conditions. So ask yourself, is my business vulnerable? Am I exposed to those uncertainties that we're discussing? And even when I am exposed, am I vulnerable? Yeah, that example I've given in COVID, people with pre-existing conditions had a more difficult time, so to speak, managing COVID compared to those who did not have pre-existing conditions. And you can remember when the vaccination was rolled out, it targeted older people because they tend to be more vulnerable to substances like this. I mean, events like those ones. So there's the uncertainty, there's the intersection between the uncertainty, your exposure to that uncertainty, and how vulnerable you are to it. Now, the consequence is really big. So the point that I'm stressing here is that you're at a risk as a business of experiencing the consequence economic uncertainties when you are both exposed and you are vulnerable to the economic uncertainties. Some of us actually may not be exposed to some of those economic uncertainties, or some of us are exposed, but some are more vulnerable to these uncertainties than others. Now, the one that I want to discuss, the consequence, is when these uncertainties happen, when they become realized uncertainties, they are the worst that can happen is that they destroy the capital that you've invested in the business. They have a huge impact on the capital that you rejected in the building. Where I'm at is struck by lightning. All of a sudden, the money that was invested in to put this building in place just disappears, just like that. So the thing is, when you're talking about the impact of the triggers that we're dealing with, ask yourself, how will they affect my capital? When you're talking about capital, for those of us who've done accounts, you know, we're talking about the initial money that you invested, the additional money that you've been investing in your business, and maybe those profits that you have not drawn over the last 10 years from your business. So an extreme event can actually just wipe out your capital once and for all. I'm not talking about just working capital. I'm talking about your money, shareholders' funds, yeah, the money that the business owes you, whether it's initial capital, additional capital, or even retained earnings. So ask yourself, what impact will this trigger have on my capital? All right. So we've talked about economic triggers, or triggers of uncertainty, or triggers of economic uncertainty. Let's talk about strategy now. Remember, our engagement today is how to use strategy to manage economic uncertainties, how to use strategy to leverage economic uncertainties. All right, so I have a poll for you. And that poll is, how many business owners actually practice strategy? How many business owners practice strategy? So please respond to the poll. I'd like to see, is it 30%? Is it about 70%? Is it like 100%? What do you guys think? How many business owners practice strategy? And the more the responses we get, the better. And I'm happy that I have many business owners today. People who are both the owner of a business and the managing the business, owner managers. All right. We have 44 people who have voted. They say only about 30%. Most people are saying 30%. About 4% of the people are saying it's 100%. About 19% of the responses are at 19%. So allow me to end the poll there. Although there are some people who are still participating, quite a number. But it's very, very clear that most of the people present here think that only about 30% of business owners practice strategy. Sorry, 77% say 30% of the business owners practice strategy, and then 18% are saying 70%, and of course there's a very small minority of people saying 100%. So allow me to end the poll there, because about 61% people have participated, and it's very clear that most of us think it's only about 30% of people who practice strategy. So, okay. So allow me to end it there. All right. So let's move on. Now, so we'll find out response. Okay. It's a response, not a reaction, but as a response. So strategy is a response to challenges or opportunities. It's a response. That's the best way to think about strategy. Of course, it's a strict definition. You'll not find that in the textbooks. It's a strict definition of strategy. So it's a response to challenges or opportunities. Now, those challenges or opportunities can be internal or external. They can be within or without your organization, and they can be present or future. That's a strict definition of strategy. Strategy is a response, not a reaction, a response to challenges or opportunities. Now, those challenges or opportunities can be internal or external. They can be present or future. Okay. And then it deals with decisions. Strategy deals with decisions that you need to make today in order to extract future value for your organization. So strategy is always forward-looking. Strategy is always forward-looking. But you make the decisions today about tomorrow. Now, if you go back to the definition that I have given of strategy, that it's a response to challenges or opportunities. How many business owners do you think practice strategy? What do you think is the correct answer? Now that I have given that definition. Well, the truth of the matter is the correct answer is 100%. As long as you're in the space of business, you're handling opportunities and you're handling challenges. Yeah. So how you respond to them is the difference. So if you're already running a business, you are already a strategy practitioner. Whether you have gone to school, whether you have your MBA, it doesn't matter, because part of what you do as the owner of a business or as a manager of a business is that you're always responding to what? Challenges or opportunities. So by default, every SME owner is a strategy practitioner. The only difference is whether you're doing it right. And now here's another point I want to make. When it comes to decisions, as far as strategy is concerned, those decisions can create value, can be value creating. Secondly, they can be value neutral. They don't add value, they don't destroy value. But some decisions or choices that you make can actually be value destroying. Can be value destroying. Now, you can begin to see how you respond to those economic triggers that we pushed across. It can either help you create value for your business, and either maybe it's value neutral, doesn't add value, it doesn't deduct value, or it can even destroy value for your business. So every SME owner, I repeat, is already in the space of strategy. Why? Because we're saying strategy is a response, not a reaction, to challenges or opportunities. So how you respond to your challenges and how you respond to your opportunities can be value creating, can be value neutral, can be value destroying. One last point about strategy: even the absence of a strategy is itself a strategy. Even the absence of a strategy is itself a strategy. Right, so we've discussed triggers, we've discussed strategy. So how do we bring the two together? It's pretty much about how do you future-proof your business? How do you future-proof your business as far as economic uncertainties is concerned? How do you future-proof your business as far as economic uncertainties are concerned? So we have determined that you're already a strategy practitioner. You just need to get things right. Because if you don't get them right, you could destroy value in your business. How do you do that in your business? All right. The first thing is begin with what you can influence. Begin with what you can influence. When you're dealing with economic uncertainties, first begin with what you can influence. And then after that, the second step, of course, now let's ask ourselves, when this uncertainty is coming, because you have no control, for instance, whether the government will change, you have no control. You don't have no control about whether the government will have take a certain direction. You don't have a control of whether Ukraine will stop fighting Russia. So the first port of call is first begin with what you can influence, work with what you can control. And those are two things. Number one is your business model, and number two is yourself as a manager. Those are the things that you're actually able to influence: your business model and yourself as a manager. So that's where you begin. Let's talk about the business model. Okay, I have a quick diagram here. The first thing, when you talk about the business model, you need to ask yourself, what problem are you solving out there in the market? I'd like to hear things like, I help students pass their exams. You know, I help tomato growers improve their yields. What else do you do? Whatever else. I help corporates improve their branding. Whatever. What problem are you solving? Now, good people, a business is not a product selling unit. I know you sell products, but a business is not a product selling unit. A business is a problem solving unit. So you need to be clear. I know I have this product, but what problem does it solve in the market? And of course, I'm not using the word problem negatively. It's a need. We're talking about needs here, but I like to use the word problem. So what problem are you solving? So I help farmers improve their yields. Oh, yeah, I hear you. I help corporates like ABSA improve their branding, something like that. I help clients streamline operations. I help my clients to improve their profitability. Now, notice I'm using verbs a lot: improve profitability, streamline operations, grow tomatoes. Now, the word grow, streamline, all of those are verbs. So as far as your business is concerned, can you hear your verbs? Can you hear your verbs? So now, who is has a problem? That's the next step. Who is this that has that problem? And that's when we talk about the target market. So who is this that has a problem that you're trying to solve? Is it me? Is it my colleague Monica? Is it my friend Helen? Who is it that has a problem that you're trying to solve? And also, please don't forget, every time somebody has a problem to solve, they also have certain constraints. Yeah, we're discussing your business model, how to think through your business model, how to future-proof by thinking through your business model first. Start with influence. So I'm trying to grow tomatoes, but I have no money. You see, that's a constraint. Maybe I'm trying to grow tomatoes or streamline my operations, but I have no skills. That's another constraint. Time, I have no money, I have no skills. So money is not the problem. I'm trying to solve a problem, but I have no money. I'm trying to solve a problem, but maybe I don't have the skills. Now, when you think through that, the problem you're solving, the target market, and their constraints, then you can come up with what is called a value proposition. Yeah, it's clear what your value proposition is as a business. Then you can tell me, I help tomato farmers without money to grow tomatoes. Grow tomatoes. Or I help small businesses without skill, who don't have the skill to improve their operations. You had the verb again, improve the operations. So you come up with your value proposition. So start with the problem you're solving, for who, and then after that, you can be able to articulate your value proposition. I'm not talking about what unique is there in your business. We've not even gone there. Just a plain thing. You help people to do what? To improve operations, you help students to pass exams. Those words, pass, improve, they're all verbs. So once you're clear about that, then once you're clear about your value proposition, then you can come back within your business and ask yourself, what is this that is absolutely necessary for me as a business to deliver the value proposition? Please don't use words like quality, efficiency. I know Kenyans love those words. No. You need to tell me what specific things do you need to do to deliver your value proposition. At Wild, we call them critical success factors because there are just a few. Maybe it's proper processes. Maybe you need equipment. Like Catherine said, she's milling, so she probably needs equipment. But maybe one of the critical success factors is maybe maintenance of the equipment, for instance. All right, and maybe processes, could be anything, just to make you deliver the value proposition. And then allow me to jump to the last one. It's a customer acquisition process. You have 10 clients today. 20 clients. How do you move from 10 to 20 to 50 to 500? So please don't tell me that you're going to post on social media because a good customer acquisition process should be able to answer at least 3 questions. Number 1, why are your clients found? Why are your clients most likely to be found? A good customer. Number 2, what's the best way to reach them? How do you know I'm on social media? Who sits at the corner of the street over there? So you need to come and look for me there. Right? What's the best way to reach them? Now that you know where they're most likely to be found, what's the best way to reach them? And then lastly, when you find me, I'm your client, I'm a potential. What are you going to tell me? Are you going to tell me you sell potatoes? Or you meet nutritional needs? What do you do? Are you going to tell me that you sell meat? Or you meet my protein needs? What are you going to say? So those 3 things in terms of customer acquisition. So that's just a general way of looking through your business. All right. Now, when it comes to vulnerability, I'm going back to that word that we used. Your most vulnerable areas as a business are your value proposition, your critical success factors, and your client acquisition process. Those are the most vulnerable areas in your business. So just make sure that you've ticked the boxes in terms of your value proposition, your critical success factor, customer acquisition process. It's robust. It enables you to roll on as a business. Or incidentally, even when you're looking for funds, this is just a by the way, ask yourself, is this money going to help me enhance my value proposition? Number 2, is this money going to help me sort out my critical success factors? And you say critical success factors are the things that enable you to deliver your value proposition. Number 3, will it help me acquire more customers? Yeah, that's a by the way, free advice. Let's move on. So now, once you're clear about that, then you can come up with a table like this, all right? Look at the business model items, all right? Then ask yourself, what could go wrong in that particular item? How exposed are you to that particular item? How vulnerable are you to that particular item? Is it high? Is it medium? Is it low? What's the likelihood of that event happening? Is it high? Is it medium? Is it low? And what's the severity of the impact on your capital. Very, very important. Always think, how is this thing going to help to, what impact will it have on the capital that I've invested in the business? And we said it's not just the initial 100,000 you put in 5 years ago. No, it's a cumulative one. Even the money that you've not withdrawn, the retained profits and additional capital, severity. And then after that, then you can take your mitigation measures. To repeat myself, you look at your business model. Now, this is action. Yeah, we're doing some action planning. It's a business model item. What could go wrong? Ask yourself, what could go wrong with that business model item? How exposed are you to it? How vulnerable are you to it? What's the likelihood of that event happening? And if it happens, what's the impact on your capital? Then after that, you can come up with mitigation measures. I can see we have quite a number of chats. I'll take your comments. Helen, maybe you can read a few chats for me. I can see there's a lot of postings, and even Helen?
I can,
Monica. Yeah, sorry, Monica, please go ahead. Yes.
All right. This is just reactions and people posting what they do, but there was an interesting one. Somebody said that if they knew the definition of strategy before the poll, it would have changed their definition. And I see somebody has written what they do with the use of a verb, that they help people get visas to visit UAE. Right? Somebody has also posted they work for Kenya Rural Food Center, is a private registered company in Kenya, incorporated in 2014, is realizing Kenya Vision 2030 in its effort to end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition, provide sustainable agriculture, sustainable development, SDG Goal 2. So we believe that everyone deserves access to healthy, nutritious food, and we are committed to making the moving fast. So we take pride in our sustainable and ethical practice.
Very well. That is talking about themselves, not what they do, not the problem they solve.
Right. Yes.
Yes. One or two more, maybe, then we can move on. Agenda
one says, we help businesses prepare proper books of account and tax accounting. We run an agribusiness technology that helps farmers product using technology.
All right. So develop is a verb. Develop products using technology. And the previous one was what?
We help businesses prepare proper books of accounts.
Good. That's another verb right there. So that's what you do. So your business is not accounts. Your business is to help people prepare books of accounts or develop products, whatever else. So we'll stop there, Monica. So allow us to move on. I'll give an example of how things can go wrong. Selling ice cream. That's what you do in the business of selling ice cream. And then you begin to notice that the people who are coming to buy ice cream at your shop across the road there, most of them have what? Sunburn. Yeah, most of them have sunburn. So what do? You begin to think people are coming to buy ice cream because they have sunburn. No, that is not the truth. The reason why they're coming to buy ice cream is because they're coming to cool off. You see how easy it is to get the beginning of business wrong. Yeah, so I'm not coming to buy ice cream from your shop because I have a sunburn. No, what is causing me to come and buy ice cream is a dry, hot, and sunny weather. And I'm like, I need to cool off. So I come to your shop and buy ice cream and I cool off. But in the process of buying ice cream, you begin to see people who are coming to buy ice cream have sunburn. Then you begin to think, I think I should be targeting people with sunburn. I think there's a very big market for ice cream for people with sunburn. Oh no, my friend, you got it wrong, completely wrong. The reason why people are coming to buy ice cream from your shop is to cool off, not because they have sunburn. What I'm trying to say, at the level of problem identification, one of the biggest risks is to confuse what is called causation with correlation. Causation with correlation. It's a very common problem that actually makes your business very vulnerable to those economic triggers that I have come up with. So please don't confuse the problem. There's a difference between causation and correlation. And a lot of the businesses end up confusing the two of them. So we are not coming to buy ice cream in your shopping, in your shop because you have sunburn. No. We are coming to buy ice cream to cool off because it is too hot. We need to cool off. If it just happens to be a coincidence that most of the people who are buying ice cream at your shop have sunburn, please do not assume that they are coming to buy ice cream because they have sunburn. That is confusing causation and correlation. All right, I have a poll now, third poll. Based on what I've just singled out one area where businesses tend to be very vulnerable. You're actually not clear about the problem you're solving, and then of course confusing correlation and causation. I have a poll now. The third poll. I have a third poll. Okay, so based on what I've just told you, how confident are you that you actually nailed the problem that your business is supposed to solve? How confident are you? Good. Some are confident, somewhat confident. All right. Not sure. All right. How confident are you that you've gotten your problem right, that you're not confusing correlation with causation? All right. Majority of the people are somewhere between confident and somewhat confident. About 20% who polled so far are about confident, and there's a not sure. All right. The polls are still coming in. About 51% of people have participated. 56. So the results are more or less right there. So very confident is about 20%. Confident is about 37%. And then somewhat confident is about 39%. Not sure, about 5%. All right. I want to address the ones who are somewhat confident. What are you going to do about it to improve the level of confidence that you've actually gotten the problem out there in the market that you're trying to solve? And you can see it's a risk factor. It exposes you to economic uncertainties. We talk about vulnerability. It's those things happening internally within yourselves so that when the exposure comes in, you're knocked off. And we gave the example of pre-existing conditions and COVID. Most of us know about that. All right. So the majority of the people are somewhere between confident and somewhat confident. So my pushback to you, what are you going to do, especially the ones who are confident, to move from confident to very confident, and the ones who are somewhat confident, from somewhat confident at least to confident, and then upwards. So I'll end the poll there. Then I move on. So we said, when you're dealing with economic uncertainties, the first thing is start by working on what you can influence. And the two things you can influence is your business model and yourself as a manager. Those are the two things that you can influence. Now, let me give you an example, a very quick example. Think of it this way. You put up a nice house, and then there are no doors and there are no windows, but the spaces for the windows are there. Now, and then after that, you decide, I need to protect my house. So I'm going to put up a very robust perimeter wall. But remember, you've not put the doors, it's just blank spaces. You've not put the windows, it's also just blank spaces. So how likely are you to survive when the thieves come calling? Yeah, when the thieves come calling. So my point is this. When you talk about first start with what you can influence, it's why don't you just fix the windows first and the doors in your house and put in maybe some frames and whatever else. Then you add the perimeter wall rather than the other way around. Yeah. So, and the things that you can fix in your business are your business model, the business that you're currently running. And then secondly, the manager, yourself as a manager. One of the things that we tend to suffer from as a manager is what we call, as managers, is what we call confirmation bias. What does that mean? And how do you deal with that? So confirmation bias is that tendency of looking for information that confirms your beliefs. So you believe that zebras are green. You just start looking for information to make sure that zebras are green. Yeah. And when somebody tells you, no, zebras are black and white, you're like, no, it's because you have not seen a green one. So that is confirmation bias. So how do you deal with confirmation bias? Good people. Yeah. And it can happen a lot in business where you're looking for information that only confirms your beliefs and you refuse to believe information that challenges your beliefs. What I would suggest is this, because we are all prone as managers to confirmation bias, and as business owners especially, look for what is called the devil's advocate. Look for a devil's advocate. People will pose questions to you and ask you, hey, are you sure that zebras are green? Well, in this example that we're talking about, are you sure there's a market for people who want to pass exams? Are you sure they're even willing to pay? Are you sure there's a market for people who want to improve their yields? Are you sure there's a market for people who want to improve their nutrition? Are you sure? Look for a devil's advocate. Why? Because it helps you to shake you from your confirmation bias. So that's a very big risk. Now, I want to say this, and it may not be, and I'm glad I'm doing this in a webinar. Otherwise, I would have been stoned. The biggest source of risk in a business is yourself as a manager. Yeah. Remember what we said about the decisions that you can make as a manager. Decisions that can either create value, decisions that are value neutral, and decisions that are value destroying. But businesses don't make decisions. It is the managers who make decisions. Cars don't move by themselves, good people. It is the drivers who take cars from point A to B. So are you exposed? So what we're trying to say is, in a sense, the biggest source of risk is yourself as a manager, especially the kind of decisions that you make, your business model and the manager. So how do you address economic uncertainties? First and foremost, start sorting out things that you can influence, your business model and yourself as a manager. And we're saying, please target confirmation bias. Yeah. Listen to contrary opinions. Look for a devil's advocate to ask those hard questions so that you come up with the correct way forward. The other ways of doing that, of course, is continuous learning. And we're very happy that you've showed up for this webinar. And I've also mentioned improve your decision-making capabilities by mitigating effects of confirmation bias. Don't just go and heap for yourselves. People who actually believe that they are green zebras. No. Come over, look for contrary evidence. And then one day you'll actually discover there are no green zebras, they are black and white. Very well. So once you're done with that, now you can follow through with what you cannot influence. Those economic uncertainties that we spoke about, you can follow through with them. Okay, same process. Yeah, what is a trigger? Is it political instability? Is it alterations in government policies? Whatever, variability in credit markets? What could go wrong with that particular kind of trigger? How exposed are you? High, medium, low. How vulnerable are you? High, medium, low. What is the likelihood of that event happening? Is it very rare? Is it very low? Okay. And the impact if the event happens. And when you talk about impact, always think, how will this thing affect my capital as a business? The money that I've invested 10 years ago, and the profits have not withdrawn, all of that contribute to your capital. Then after that, you can come up with mitigation measures. And of course, you need to focus on the ones that are high. The ones that are low, you don't need to pay too much attention to them. So with that, I think it will be a good time to take your questions because I'm done with the presentation. Thank you very much. Questions, comments? Monica?
Thank you.
Helen,
Thank you,
Helen, you're
Kirinya.
back. There is a lot on the
Yes.
chat. Please read out for us and please read out please read out what's in the chat. Helen.
I'm looking in for questions. Please type in your questions in the Q&A in the chat. I'm seeing responses from from the polls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any questions on the chat.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we've taken a lot from the trainer, from the speaker, Kerenya. I know we have quite a number of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Please type in. This is the time for you to ask those tough questions on strategy, because we have the expert here.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Any
great
comments so
presentation,
far?
Kerenya.
Thank you.
Great presentation, Kerenya. Clarity on critical success factors. I think Lynette is asking you give clarity on success, on critical success factors.
All right, very well. I'll take that as others come in. So, Lynette, yes.
Okay, you can go ahead with that one.
That one, then we'll pick one at a time. So, thank you very much for your question. So the thing is, if you look at your the problem that you're trying to solve as a business, for instance, so it becomes very clear that there are certain things that you need to get in place. Lynette, if I get your business, if I remember your business, you're in the guarding business. Am I right? Hopefully I am. Or in the security business. All right. So what are some of those critical things that enable you to provide security services? Probably that was, if I remember well, that was something. Provide security services. Again, hear the word, provide security services. Okay, of course, training is absolutely important for the guards, for instance. Training is absolutely important for you to start to training is important. Access maybe to, and even certain processes, and then things like what else did I think as a critical success factor? I think of training and I think of processes, for instance. How do you go about training? There are certain things that you follow. So those are certain examples. But when you talk about delivery of critical success factors, I'll take another example. Maybe if you're running a manufacturing business, you're running a bakery. So, and maybe you're making bread. So one of the ways you can think about critical success factors is what will it take to deliver the bread that solves the problem that I want to solve? For instance, you need proper processes, you need proper sourcing, you need to have ability to get the raw materials, for instance, and the proper raw materials. You need a bit of quality assurance along the path. Even how you process is very, very important. So how you do your processing is also very, very important, because if you don't get the raw materials right, assuming that, of course, you're running a bakery, this is just for example, you don't get your raw materials right and test them at that point, you're actually going to get something that looks like bread, but it's actually not bread. It doesn't solve the problem that you set out to solve. So you are saying, this is the problem I want to solve, therefore, this is what I need to get right. Lynette, I don't know. I hope I've answered your question, Lynette, about clarity about critical success factors.
Thank you so much, Kerenya. I have another question from Martin. Is asking, which method can I use to evaluate? I mean, I think that is to value my business where a buyer is interested.
Oh, what method can I use to value my business where a buyer is interested? Oh, that's a very interesting question. It's more of a finance question. But here's one thing, maybe just to put it out there, the value of your business is not equivalent to the assets that you have, okay? You could own this building up to the 14th floor, but there are no tenants. So what is the value of your business? So the value of one of the biggest mistakes that we make as Kenyans is to think our business is valuable just because we have a lot of assets. But in the world of corporate finance, it is the income that the assets generate value of your business. So for instance, this building is 14 floors, for instance, but there's only one tenant, myself, and maybe I pay a tenant of 1,000 shillings a month business. And there could be, maybe Helen could be running a small consultancy somewhere, but she gets 2 million shillings a month. How valuable is it? This 14 story building that is generating 1,000 a month, or a small business there on the side that is generating 2 million shillings a month. And of course, that happens a lot in the airline industry. If you look at the airline industry, the assets are just worth billions and billions and billions, hundreds of billions, but the profitability is this low. So what is the value of a business? So what I'd like to say, Martin, is ask yourself, what is your income generating power of your business? Not the assets that you have. Like, for instance, like consulting businesses, like the ones we have. If you come and attack our business, you probably just walk away with 1 or 2 or 3 laptops. But now those laptops do webinars like this and generate a lot of value. So so ask yourself, what is my income generating power for my business? And of course, that's just an indirect question of saying, do you really have a problem you're solving with the market? You cannot generate income if you're not solving a problem in the market. And you cannot, and even if there's a problem out there to be solved, you cannot generate income if your value proposition is lousy. And on top of that, you cannot generate income if you don't have an idea of how you're going to get the next client. So it's an earning capability. That is a fundamental way of assessing your business. Thank you.
Well said, Kerenya, and thank you for that. A follow-up question still from Martin. Hello, Mr. Kerenya. Always a pleasure listening to you. Kindly come
Martin.
back on the 3 vulnerability factors. I would want some clarification on that.
Okay. So again, thank you very much for your question, Martin. So we said we get affected by the intersection of 3 things. Number 1, there's a hazard, what you're calling the economic trigger, but it could be anything, by the way. But this is about economic uncertainties. So there's an intersection between the hazard, the vulnerability, and the exposure. And I gave an example. Right now, I'm comfortably sitting wherever I am. I am not exposed to shark attacks, really. Yeah, but somebody who's probably swimming out there in the deep seas in Mombasa is probably exposed to shark attacks. But they may not be vulnerable. Why? Maybe because they are wearing a bulletproof swimming costume, if something like that exists. So they're actually exposed to shark attacks, but because they are wearing, in a manner of speaking, bulletproof swimming costume. So that intersection between the hazard, the vulnerability, and the exposure, that is what brings about realized risk. And we said that realized risk can have a very big impact on your capital. And that's what you should be worried about. Any more questions?
Yes, we have a few more questions, Kerenya, and thank you for that response. I have a question from Awar. Thank you so much for the education. I import my product from China. The forex exchange rate fluctuation affect my business. How can I mitigate against this, especially on pricing of our products?
Well, that sounds like a question for ABSA.
Forex
I'm sure you people
exchange
have
rate
forward
fluctuation.
contracts and things like that. That sounds more like a question for ABSA.
And now you are on the hot seat. You have to take that. Yes.
So I have to take that, of course. I'm sure the banks have products that are either called forward contracts or future contracts where you can fix the exchange rate. But those are technical aspects, and maybe the bank will be more, the treasury department in your bank, I think, will be a lot more willing to show how forward contracts work or how future contracts work. But you can fix the price. You can fix the exchange price at some point. But that is a technical thing, not so technical, but you can see it's a product that is very directed to people who are exposed to foreign currencies. And now you're also saying you're vulnerable to that. I'm glad you're so you're on your good path.
Yeah, so I'll pick this one with you offline so that I'm able to introduce you to our forex exchange dealers who can support you in terms of the how you can mitigate that, because we have forex products that you can use to mitigate that, especially on your pricing. So thank you so much for that. We'll get back to you on that with our trade dealers, exchange trade dealers. I have another question, which is requesting that you give some few examples of causation and correlation It was quite
Okay.
interesting.
All
Yeah.
right. Very interesting question. For instance, you are running a business, and you notice that most of the people who are coming to buy products maybe are students, and your product maybe are students or young ladies or young men or whatever else. So you begin to think the reason why these people are coming to buy my products is because that may not be the truth. Yeah, that may not be the truth. That's an example of confusing correlation and causation. Yeah. And then another one. I'll give a very popular example. I think most people here know about the product called Aremi's Milk and Jelly, isn't it, Helen? And it
That
turns
is a
out
household
it's a household name,
brand.
isn't it? So it turns
Yeah.
out the product was actually meant for milking cows, but now the majority of the users are ladies. Now, if Helen comes to your shop to buy a Remis, you're not supposed to think that she has a cow. That is confusing correlation and causation.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
So, and by the way, I'd like to say it is a very common problem in the business world, and it is so common. It's almost like a pandemic, confusing correlation and causation. And I'd like to add this, Helen. If you get that wrong, then you're actually not running a business, because you're going to build on sinking sand. And I'd also like to add, remember I said that the biggest source of risk can actually be yourself as a manager. We found out that 87% of business failures are actually management failures. 87% are management failures. And that failure, and one of the failures, of course, is confusing correlation and causation. So I'll stop there. I think there are other questions.
Yes, we have another question from Isaac. I help businesses create visual communication materials, and my customer acquisition process has been on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and Instagram, and internet. However, I rarely get them. I have active social media presence and portfolio. How am I doing it wrong?
Very well. Thank you very much. Great question. So, Isaac, we said when it comes to customer acquisition, you're supposed to ask yourself, why are your clients most likely to be found? Yeah. Why are your clients most likely to be found? And then the second thing is, what's the best way to reach them? And then the third thing is, when you find them, what are you going to tell them? So maybe those are the three areas. I'd like you to examine, are your clients mostly on Instagram? Maybe Helen here is a potential client, but she's not on Instagram. So are your clients mostly on Instagram? So ask yourself, let's go back to your client acquisition process. Where are your clients most likely to be found? What's the best way to reach them? That's your second question. Of course, it's good to have social media presence, but there are some people without websites and without social media, and they're still making millions. So it cannot be, again, that's confusing correlation and causation. People will not come to you because you're on social media. They'll come to you because they have a problem to solve and they've heard about you. Okay. So those three questions: where are your clients most likely to be found? What's the best way to reach them? Maybe social media may not be effective. Maybe it's door to door or something else. And then the third question is, when you find me, I'm your client, I'm a potential client, or Helen is a potential client, what are you going to tell me? Yeah. What are you going to tell me? And then you also need to think very clearly. There's a different messaging for business to business, where your clients are other businesses, and there's a different messaging for business to customer. They are very different. Yeah. I hope I've answered your question. At least I've given you a framework to think about, and I hope it's also relevant for other people. All right, Helen?
Thank you, Kirinya. So I think it's a matter of, in addition, Isaac, is your target market. Where are they found? Because they might not be found in all the social media accounts. Some might, if your target is in Instagram, there's a category of people who are in Instagram. So are those your targets? So another question, this is not a question, it's just a compliment from Caroline, and she's saying exceptional presentation, clear, engaging, and thought provocation. Provoking and thought provoking. I have another comment from Judith. She's saying, great presentation. I have learned so much,
Thank you.
especially on most vulnerable factors in my business. That is value proposition, critical success factors, and customer acquisition. Thank you, Mr. Kerenya. So great feedback coming through. And yes, Lucy, we shall be sharing the recording of today's session. In the course of this week. You will have it as long as you've logged in this call. So we have your emails and we'll be sharing out to you. So really getting a lot of feedback on the engagement today, and the audience are happy. You've done the topic justice. I have another question from Milton. How do you deal with internal challenges? How do you deal with internal challenges as a
Very
disruption?
well. Yeah. Okay. There's the that's a very very important question. There are two levels of internal challenges. They are the ones that are actually related to your business model. For instance, you're in the business of making bread or milling flour, whatever. Like to use simple examples like those ones, and you can see. You have issues of low productivity, your machines keep breaking down. That's one level. But as your machines are breaking down, maybe your staff team, the production team keep fighting one another. They keep abusing one another. So what do you prioritize? Maybe that's a question about priorities. So for me, I would propose this. First, look at the internal challenges that have an impact on those three things that we spoke about. Number one, value proposition. Number two, critical success factors. Number three, client acquisition. Prioritize those, then deal with the other challenges that are there. So what we don't want you to do is to major in minors, okay? Because there are very many distractions as a business person. Can be distracted by all sorts of things. It's raining too much. People are sneezing in the office. I don't know, the people forgot their laptops at home. Do you want to make those things a major thing? So focus on the things that make for your business, the success of your business model. Remember, we said 87% of business failures are actually management failures. So you're the biggest source of risk. Also think about yourself. What kind of decisions have you been making? So prioritize the ones that are closer to the success of a business model. Then you can layer the others. Please don't also ignore the others. If the taxman is looking for you, for instance, those are questions that you need to handle. But remember, there's a taxman and there's your business model. So prioritize your business model.
Yeah. Sure. I think the last question from Gedenchi is asking, from the three main strategies, which one would you recommend for the SME? Would it be the cost leadership?
All right. Very good question. So again, remember we said strategy is a response to either to challenges or opportunities. And we prefer to think that challenges is a response to opportunities, not just challenges. And they can be internal or external, and they can be present or future. So my very general response, but it's on the right path, is those 3 or 4 generic strategies, they first depend on the context. Yeah. So if the market is so competitive and the margins are so low, then of course you can go for what? Cost leadership. So my question is, it depends. What circumstances are we dealing with out there in the market? Then we respond to them. Because even if you don't respond, someone else will. And they're called your competitors. Yeah, someone else will. So that's a very generic one, but please be clear about the circumstance or the situation that you're dealing with out there. So I may not recommend any until I'm very clear about the circumstances out there. Yes.
All right.
Good question. Yes.
Thank you, Kerenya. I think we have a final one from William, who is asking, how do you add value proposition in your business? Give an example.
All right. Okay. So let me give an example and tell me what you think about it. We, like at Wild International, a consulting firm. So we provide consulting services to owner managers so that they can succeed in their business. Does that sound like a good value proposition? So you can see in that value proposition, I have stated what I provide. I said I provide consulting services or coaching services, whatever. It's just an example. And I've identified who my target market is. I've said I provide consulting services to owner-managed businesses, probably like most of you here. And then once I have a product consulting service, I have a target market, owner-managed businesses, and then there's the important one, so that they can succeed in their businesses, or so that they can generate their profits. Did you hear the word generate profits? Again, it's a verb. So that's an example of a value proposition. You need to tell me the product that you provide or the service to who. That is your target market. And once you provide the product and the service, what difference will it make? So for me, I've said I provide consulting services to owner-managed businesses so that they can improve their profitability. So you can clearly see a value proposition tells you I'm in the business of helping businesses improve their profitability. Of course, that's just an example. There are many others that we can give. So you first need to identify your business. So don't tell me you're in the catering business. Of course, you supply food. That's very true. But what difference does that food make? And who do you supply to? For instance, maybe you'll be supplying to construction workers. So you say, maybe I supply nutritious food to construction workers so that they can replenish their energy or something like that. So it becomes very apparent they're in the business of helping construction workers replenish their energy. So that's how you think about the value proposition. Of course, what you provide is food. But the real difference that you make is that the food that you provide helps construction workers to replenish their energy. And any other, all those are just examples that you can think about. Helen?
Excellent. Well, a good response there, Kirenya. And I think we are on top of our hour. It's already 10:30. And I'll just say thank you to you, our speaker, Kirenya. You've done a good job today. A lot of good feedback coming through. And I think you've done good justice to this topic. To our customers, thank you so much for availing yourselves today and listening in. I have seen that we still have full house until this hour. So it means that this was of value. So thank you so much for finding time today. And not to worry, we are going to share the recording so that you can go back and sit and just go through point to point, because I think this information is quite critical, especially in the times that we are living in as a business person. So we'll share this video, the recording of it in a couple of days within the week. So thank you so much. My special thanks also go to Monica, who is also on this call, who was also my co-moderator. Thank you for your support today, and the team, the entire team of Wild, our partners. Thank you so much. Just to mention that we will be having we'll continue with our thought leadership webinars every month. So look out for the next webinar in the coming month of September. We shall be sharing that on email for you to register as usual. And we are happy that we are partnering with Wild International in this journey for the webinars that are remaining for the rest part of the year. So you can be sure you'll be having some good trainers on board here. Now, as I would like to give some special recognition to our head of SME, Mr. Erastus Mudura, who is with us right now, and is going to give us some closing remark, and also to just welcome you to these webinar sessions officially from our head of SME. So I will give it to Erastus. Please, if you can hear me, go ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Helen. I can hear you. Confirm you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Kirinya, because of that interesting, challenging, and thought-provoking session that we've had this morning. I think all of us agree that we need to go sit and think about our businesses, think about the problems we could be causing to the business. I think one of the things I've picked is that 87% of our businesses fail because of leadership or because of management. So it means that 87% of the entrepreneurs kill their own business. So it's like businesses don't fail, but the leaders fail the business. I think that's the challenge we are taking this morning. And thank you for the interactive session, engaging. During these uncertain times, we are thinking about you as ABSA, and we would want you to think about engaging us in all aspects of your business, because we are here to partner with you. We're here to find out what is happening to your business, what's happening to you as an individual. And we have quite a number of innovative sessions that we'll be inviting you to come and attend. Please keep checking on what we have between now and the end of the year. They say that tough times never last, but tough people do. And so we expect that even during these uncertain and tough times, our businesses will help us to identify even other opportunities amid these difficulties. Tough times are inevitable in life, but in business and in life also, and how you compose yourself during times defines your spirit and will define the future. And I think Richard Branson was trying to just encourage entrepreneurs when he said that even during such an opportunity, we need that kind of composure. And I think this just takes us to sit down, rethink about our business model, dedicate more time to learning, building capacity. And as ABSA, we are dedicated to building your capacity and helping you to navigate, because when you succeed, we succeed. We are in it together. We are in the same environment as you, and we want to see you do well, not just do business and go away, but we are interested in knowing what is happening to you. I think my appeal to all of us this morning, please give us feedback. Tell us how we are serving you. Tell us what you do want to see more. Tell us the topics you want to learn about. Ask us about the opportunities. We are willing to come and visit you, discuss your business model. But I think for the most important thing is the opportunities we expose to you. So keep it right here. There are so many things the bank is doing. We have promotions that are running. We have partners that we are bringing on board on asset finance. We have something we are doing on the mortgage for the existing customers. We have even gone to an extent of reducing some of the rates just to try and accommodate you during these uncertain times. But there are also other opportunities coming up. But I think my very last appeal to all of us, if you're happy with this session, just drag along someone else, so that you can imagine if all our SMEs are doing well, our country will do well, our young people will get employment, we will drive economic prosperity for our country, and will cause the real transformation that has been giving us a challenge. Why don't you just invite someone else in the next one? We learn together, we become better customers, we network, and we become also better buyers of each other, business to business. So thank you so much for attending the session. Thank you for your time. And thank you, Monica, and thank you, Helen, and thank you, Kirinya, and thank you all. I wish you all the best in your businesses. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Erastus. We'll now end our webinar. Have a good and blessed day ahead as you continue with your business. Thank you so much. Goodbye for now.
Our stories begin right here, and we never write them alone. Sometimes we write them with someone who puts our story first. Other times with someone who puts their own story first. There'll be pages we love to read again and again, and some we'll barely remember. Sometimes we feel like the hero of our story, and other times, not. There are stories of dreamers, stories of creators, stories of strivers, stories of believers, and we're inspired by them all. That's why we invite you to write your story with us. Your story matters.
My names are Alex Wafulawa Mwana. I'm born in Bungoma County, and I run a business. I'm involved in a supermarket business. I also have a wholesale. I also have a soda distribution business. I had challenges in managing the business because I am a teacher. I had vowed that if my wife is working class, I'll resign to run the business. If she's not working, then I will convince her to manage the business as I continue. with my teaching job. I'm looking forward to own a heavy truck to transport my goods easily from suppliers. I've had challenges like any ordinary entrepreneur. When I got interested in trucks, I was banking with another bank that financed me the first truck. Along the way, that truck was stolen, so I had to rush back to the financer. I was told this time I don't qualify. But when I approached ABSA, they came in very handy and financed me the second truck, which was even having a higher capacity than the first truck. ABSA has really supported me. Currently, I'm having 4 trucks. All the 4 trucks are still on loan, and I'm comfortably paying for them. It looks like a miracle to somebody if I say ABSA has financed me 4 lorries, which I'm still paying, and also around 4 loans. I've been telling my fellow businessmen, young and those who are established, that ABSA has served me well. I'm looking forward into a bright future because of ABSA.
I started my hustling journey early 1990s, selling second-hand shoes. Then I shifted to selling yarn, then switched to uniform work, which I'm currently doing now. My name is John Joroge, Director of Kitale Wool Shop. We have a shop in Line Moja, Kitale Town, and we recently have a factory along Kitale Eldoret Road. We process various types of clothing, that is textile. We do the pullovers, we do all sorts of uniforms. Sasa wakati tumeanza factory, tukaongeza watu wafanyikazi, we had to buy few machines. So the challenge started there because, you know, with the factory you have to source for the raw materials. At the same time you are paying the workers. Things became harder when COVID struck. I had to look for alternatives. I thought a lot. A friend of mine who told me ABSA are giving even loans without security. So I went and opened an account with ABSA in 2017. And yes, they are the ones who have saved me up to now, because, you know, paying workers at the same time you're paying electricity, it's not easy. So these days I don't have that hassle of thinking a lot, the end month is here. I don't have money because they have already sorted me with a good amount in the overdraft. I know ABSA will continue journeying with me because we are planning to add more machines so that we create more employment, and I've already talked to them, and I know they will help me realize my dream fully. Working with ABSA will make me see through all my plans.
My name is Josephine Gichan. I'm a business woman. Nafanya business yangu Kisii. Duka yangu inaitwa Jacho Farm Machinery. Hii duka nilianza kitambo tukiwa na mzee wangu. Kafanya vizuri, kaendelea vizuri, lakini wakati mzee akafika akawa mgonjwa for the whole year. Sasa ikawa business imerudi chini kabisa. Sasa from there kapatana na watu wa bank from ABSA Bank, wakakuja wakanichukua, wakanipatia loan unsecured 500,000. Na hiyo loan imenisaidia sana kwa marafiki zangu, majirani na wale ambao wachajiunga na ABSA Bank, na waomba mjiunge na ABSA Bank kwa sababu saizi naona nimeendelea. ABSA Bank ninawashukuru sana, mlinisaidia na muendelee kufanya hivyo hivyo kwa wengine.
As a young man, I'd always wanted to be independent, not to be an employee. That is some dream I've always had of my life. I studied dentistry. When I finished, I started internship. During my internship, I used to visit some dental clinic and see how things operate, which motivated me that I could veer off in dentistry and go practice by myself. So during my internship, I saved up and took some loan and started the clinic. At that time, I was partly working elsewhere and partly running the clinic. At that time, I was still a bit confused. whether I wanted to really take dentistry as the core business that I wanted in life. Having been a dental clinic that was just starting out as a young man in Kisumu, we kept having the demand growing on us. And at that point, we needed a facility alone to be able to help us expand and absorb the increased capacity. So that time is when I approached ABSA to be able to help us elevate and expand our capacity to serve the numbers that were growing. Thereafter, we started seeing the need of opening the branches, where again, I went to ABSA and they gave us the loan to be able to, we refinanced actually, to be able to open a branch and keep elevating our clinic. ABSA has been one of the best in terms of relationship for the business aspect of it. The turnaround time of response from the banking staff whenever we need any support on our business has been really commendable. And irrespective of which part of the country we've gone to, whether we're in Homa Bay, whether we're in Migori, the willingness of the staff to respond to us is very good. I look back and I'm happy with my partnership with ABSA. It's been a worthy journey.